Today, we're digging into a truly epic story of survival. But this isn't just about a dangerous trek across a desert. Oh no. This is about a journey that forces an entire community to peel back the layers of their reality and master the fundamental laws of their universe. It's a story of how a desperate fight to live becomes a profound quest for power.
So let's set the scene. You've got this community, the reborn Azure Dragon House, and they're essentially trapped. They're living as nomads in a massive, brutal desert because their path to safety has been completely cut off. Their whole existence, day in and day out, is just a desperate hunt for the next oasis, the next source of life.
And if the killer environment wasn't enough, they're also being actively hunted. They're up against these monstrous forces, crowbats, minotaurs, you name it. This means every single time they have to pack up and move, it's not just a journey, it's running a terrifying gauntlet where they could be wiped out at any moment.
So you can imagine the kind of life this is. It's a grueling, exhausting cycle. They find a safe spot, an oasis, and they get a moment to breathe. But the clock is always ticking. As soon as the resources run dry, they have to go back out into the open, face those same monsters, and pray they find the next safe haven. They are living, literally, on the edge of extinction.
And get this, we're not talking about a small band of survivors here. The stakes are massive. We're talking about 50,000 people. 50,000 lives hanging in the balance, all of them completely dependent on finding some kind of permanent way out of this nightmare.
But then, just when things seem totally hopeless, a glimmer of hope appears. Their leaders, these guardians named Kieran and Concordia, come up with an incredibly detailed plan for a mass exodus. The goal? A desperate all-or-nothing journey to the safety of the mountain of Olympus on the coast.
And I mean, this plan is an absolute masterpiece of logistics. They've thought of everything. First, they use birds as scouts to map out a survivable route. Then they calculate the exact amount of food and water needed for all 50,000 people and their animals. They've even mapped out the first leg of the trip, a brutal 288-mile trek, and figured out what kind of new tech they need to build just to survive.
This brings them to the biggest, most fundamental problem. The desert itself is trying to kill them in two different ways. It's a deadly catch-22. Traveling during the day is a suicide mission because of the insane heat. But if they only traveled at night, the journey takes twice as long and they'd need double the supplies, which is just impossible. They're completely stuck.
So what's the solution? Well, they engineer something incredible. It's a massive climate-controlled vehicle, a moving structure big enough to shield everyone. The outer layer is brilliant. It's reflective to bounce off the sun's heat during the day, and then it absorbs and stores that heat to keep everyone from freezing to death during the cold nights.
Okay, so they have the perfect strategy, they have the route mapped out, they have this amazing piece of technology. Problem solved, right? Well, in a world this hostile, where monsters are literally hunting you down, is a brilliant plan ever really enough?
And this is where the whole story pivots. This is the crucial turning point. The leaders have this profound realization that a perfect physical plan is not enough. To truly succeed, it needs a metaphysical foundation. The real battle isn't just with the desert or the monsters, it's an internal one. They have to evolve from simply surviving to actually being powerful.
Karen, one of the guardians, realizes the few of them can't protect everyone. It's just too much. So he proposes something radical. He basically says, we have to share our power. We need to train our people, our villagers, so they can tap into their own abilities. It's a shift from the people being passengers to being active participants in their own rescue.
And that, right there, changes absolutely everything. This isn't just about moving 50,000 people from point A to point B anymore. This is now about fundamentally upgrading every single person's ability to interact with their world, to actually understand and influence the elements around them.
So, you're probably asking, what does this empowerment actually look like in practice? Well, let's zoom in on the archer's training under Concordia. It's the perfect case study for the shift from just being good at a physical skill to achieving a metaphysical mastery over unseen forces. Concordia starts with the basics, the kind of stuff you'd expect. She teaches them to really use their senses, to feel the wind, to find their balance, so the bow feels like a part of their own body. But pretty quickly, the archers figure out that all this physical stuff, it's just the tip of the iceberg. It's the doorway to something much, much deeper. And here it is. This is the core law of their entire universe. The main idea is that the elements inside your body have to be in harmony with the elements of the world around you. Real power isn't about fighting against the world.
It's about getting in sync with it, about balancing your inner self with the forces of nature.
The ultimate endgame here is to achieve something Concordia calls perfect harmony. And get this, when you manage to perfectly align an element inside you with that same element outside, you not only become immune to its bad effects, but you awaken a brand new extrasensory ability. It's basically unlocking a superpower.
So check out this path to mastering the wind. The archers go through 3 stages. First, they just learn to feel the air, to develop a sensitivity to it. Then, at level 2, they learn to consciously manipulate the air around them. And finally, at level 3, they fully synchronize with the wind, achieving that perfect harmony. And the reward? They unlock something called zone perception, a full 360-degree field of vision. They can literally see with the wind itself.
Okay, so let's pull back the final curtain and look at the deep-down physics of this world. This is the metaphysical architecture that makes everything else we've talked about possible. Concordia explains it like this. The human body is basically a complex energy processor. Think about it. Each of our senses is a specialized tool for taking in a specific type of energy from the world. Our eyes absorb light energy, our ears absorb sound energy, our skin absorbs heat, and so on. But here's the really fascinating part. All of these systems that we think of as being separate, sight, hearing, touch, they're not separate at all. They're all interconnected, just different wires all plugging into one central hub, the nervous system. So, the nervous system takes all of this energy coming in from the outside world and converts it into a single internal life force. They call it an aura of lightning, which is just a cool way of describing the body's internal electrical field that powers everything we do, every thought, every movement, everything.
So, when you boil it all down, the big lesson from this tribe's journey is pretty profound. Real strength, real survival, isn't just about having smarter plans or better tech. It's about deeply understanding and mastering the unseen rules that govern your reality. Their simple, physical trip had to become a metaphysical journey of empowerment for them to have any chance at all.
Now, of course, this is all happening in a fictional world, but it leaves us with a really powerful question, doesn't it? It makes you think about the unseen forces and fundamental rules in our own lives. And it makes you wonder, if we could learn to master them, to harmonize with them, what would we truly be capable of? What potential is just waiting to be unlocked?